Hello and welcome to the Imagineer Podcast, your unofficial guide to all things Disney. I'm your host, Matthew Kroll, and this is our second ever bonus episode of the Imagineer Podcast. In our first bonus episode, we talked about Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. In our second bonus episode, we're going to talk about another attraction at Disney's Animal Kingdom, which is the brand new, well, maybe a year old at this point, e-ticket attraction, Flight of Passage, over at Pandora, the World of Avatar. And I know what you're probably thinking. Hey Matt, we covered Flight of Passage already back in episode 10. And you're right, we did cover Flight of Passage. We went through a binaural recording of the attraction, but on a recent trip to Walt Disney World, I had the chance to, for the first time ever, rope drop at Flight of Passage. Previously, I'd either done it in the middle of the day or the end of the day, but this was the first time where I really went to Disney's Animal Kingdom early, brought my headphones with me, and recorded what it's like to rope drop Flight of Passage. So in today's episode, we're going to listen back to that recording, and it'll give you a really great idea of what it's like to visit Disney's Animal Kingdom first thing in the morning and visit Flight of Passage. Specifically, one thing I could tell you is that we did arrive at Disney's Animal Kingdom at about 8:30 in the morning. And what's important to know about that is, for the most part, if you arrive to Disney's Animal Kingdom about 30 minutes before the park is scheduled to open, and that's around the time of this recording, of course, things can change as time goes on, but if you do, at this point, go to Disney's Animal Kingdom about 30 minutes before the park opens, they will already let you line up at Flight of Passage. Here's why that's super important. If you do show up at the park opening at 9 o'clock in the morning, or whenever the park opens, let's say it's 8 o'clock in the morning on some rare days, if you show up when the park opens, you may have a 75 plus minute wait already at 9 o'clock in the morning. But if you show up early, your wait time is going to be dramatically reduced. In fact, from the time we entered the line until the point we were in the first pre-show was only about 35 minutes. And they even funneled us through the FastPass queue rather than the standby queue, which unfortunately, I love the standby queue, so that's the one downside of showing up so early in the morning. But the benefit, of course, is that you only have to wait a much shorter amount of time, and so that gives you more time to experience the other attractions at Disney's Animal Kingdom throughout the day. So in today's recording, what we're going to do is I will let you listen back as if you're standing right next to me in the queue for Flight of Passage. First thing in the morning, we'll start at around Discovery Island and then cross over the bridge into Pandora and actually get in line for Flight of Passage and go through the entire attraction. If you've listened to the previous episode where we did talk fully about Flight of Passage, I have to let you know this recording is 10 times better. So even if you did listen back to the other one, I would still encourage you to listen to this particular episode, because I have to say, at 8:30 in the morning, I think a lot of people still are pre-caffeinated, so a lot more folks are quiet and tired. It's a little bit of talking in the background, but the audio quality of the pre-shows and the ride itself is a stronger recording than back in episode 10. I'm always looking to do a better job every time I go out there and record in the parks for you. So again, we'll go to the beginning of the standby queue at 8:30 in the morning, and then you'll be off Flight of Passage and ready to grab your first cup of coffee with us at Creature Comforts by 9:30 in the morning. So it's going to be a really enjoyable podcast episode, and you'll get a complete full experience of what it's like to rope drop Flight of Passage. As with other episodes that do include binaural audio, if you're driving in your car, don't worry about it. You'll still get a great experience. But if you happen to be going to the gym, or if you're just listening with your headphones at work or elsewhere, if you wear over-the-ear headphones or earbuds, you will get a full 360-degree audio experience, which is going to really enhance the sound and experience that you get. If you close your eyes, it might even feel like you're really there. Just need some of the smells and some of the sensations, and then you're practically there. So grab some headphones, pull up your favorite armchair, and enjoy this second ever bonus episode of the Imagineer Podcast. 25 minutes. Nice. Under the river.
Under the river. We go under the river and come back up and then we get up there. That gets me. Everything about it is like, all right, it's like keep going down there. And then the cowboys and things. I think that's the coolest part
We may go back as far as Africa.
Right now?
Yeah, but
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's moving.
Eventually we'll stop and we'll probably be inside there.
Yeah. Heads up to those listening on the podcast. We got into the park at 8:30. Got in line for Flight of Passage in Pandora. They let us right in around 8:40. And we're now winding.
Are you talking to yourself now?
Yeah, talking to the guests. Joanna's making fun of me. As per usual. We're now walking back towards Africa along that entrance between Pandora and Africa. For now, just enjoy the ambient sounds of Pandora. Africa. Not bad. About halfway.
Halfway to Africa?
Yeah. But in Animal Kingdom, it feels like that.
I can't believe we made it all the way.
To get from a faraway planet, we're not even at the bridge. I wonder what that is.
Mommy will be beside you on hook on dragon. You're going to be by. It's like a motorcycle, but like in the street it's dragon. Can you do that by yourself?
start fading into you.
That's okay.
Sorry. Cool, thank you.
No worries.
Behind you, singing.
I have a feeling they're just opening up the main standby. Because in the morning they let people do FastPass. They're probably like, hold, let people go. Now everybody else go through FastPass. Oh, sorry, through standby.
Sometimes I just want to like trade for like backup so I can trade the battery.
For a good bag, right? Yep. Have you ever been to where they have like special trade little places?
We're going to move again.
Trading, I don't know what it's called. They have that at hotels.
Oh, is that right?
Pin trading. And
It's what?
sometimes they'll also give you one extra one that you don't have to
Yeah.
trade for. It's gonna be
I don't think it's going to be much longer. I just think, like I said, that they're switching from FastPass back to standby.
It's a random store. And they just made them the pirate one. So, yeah, so that was special at a checkout in a store. So, yeah. Well, and it was random. Like, I just asked a question at the counter, and then I saw someone else's pin trading. So there wasn't a sign or anything. So we kind of have to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
All the way across, guys. I want to trade like this one.
Where are you guys staying? Are you staying at home?
No, we're not doing it.
Okay.
Are you guys in here?
We are staying at Kidani Village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How is it?
Oh, it's great. We have like wrapped up stuff. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
That's cool. I like how they got
Yeah, just check out. I know. We're free to just go to the lobby.
I agree. I love what they did with the place.
Last time we came, we were hopping. Oh yeah. Then you like in the lobby outside the window.
I think some of the restaurants. It was big boat,
time says 75 minutes now. 9:05.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be 75 minutes.
Not for us.
I think we missed Courtney.
You missed what? All right, so we're entering standby at exactly 9:05. Thank you.
How many?
They gave you the link card? Link card. Caution, you will be restrained on a moving vehicle at a significant height above ground. Sounds about right.
Fans are an awesome addition.
Yes. Gotta give an A+ to the fans on this queue. Walking. Through FastPass still. That's what it looks like right now. So I think standby's back that way. ready as I'll ever be.
Really?
No, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
What about
Who's easier?
14, 15, and 16 in that one.
All right.
Okay, all systems ready. Stand by.
Standing by.
Just follow around the railing and fill the room. That's right. Please fill all the way in and stand on your assigned number. Just follow around the railing and fill the room. That's right. Please fill all the way in and stand on your assigned number. Sealed genetic matching room. Okay, Dr. Stevens, they're ready.
Can everyone see me?
Yeah?
I cannot see your face.
Great. Welcome to the Avatar program. Soon, you're going to have a chance to undertake an amazing Navi rite of passage, flying on the back of this powerful animal called an Ikran, or as we call it, a banshee. The way you're going to do this is by being matched to something called an avatar. And I'm here to help you guys get ready. But first, we have to scan you for Pandoran microparasites. All right, everyone, stay on your number and move your arms a bit. Okay, start scan. You've all got them. But don't worry, they're very common around these parts. Let's start the decon.
Initiating GMR decon.
Stay still over your number. You're not going to feel a thing. You're doing great. Almost done here.
We're all clear.
Great. Now let's go over how all this works. Like I said before, you're going to be matched to these things called avatars, which look a lot like the Na'vi. They're created by blending human DNA and Na'vi DNA. Once we match you to an avatar, thanks to a special link chair, your mind will be able to control that avatar. Using avatars to fly this way was all figured out by my boss, Dr. Jackie Ogden. She leads our science team, which is part of the Pandora Conservation Initiative, and we're here in the Valley of Moara studying banshees and their environment. Over a generation ago, this enormous company called the RDA created a lot of damage to the area through their bad mining practices and conflicts with the Na'vi. Just like on Earth, it can take decades for ecosystems to recover. One way to understand what's going on with an ecosystem is to study what are called keystone species. These are animals like tigers, jaguars, seals. The banshee is one of these important animals. Dr. Ogden is the foremost expert on studying the Ikran and has spent years researching them. Unfortunately, banshees live high in rookeries and humans can't get anywhere near them without becoming their lunch. But the Na'vi and avatars can. In fact, the Na'vi have been riding on the backs of banshees since their earliest history. Thanks to science, avatars can ride on banshees too. That's why you're linking to an avatar. Okay, to get you flying on a banshee, we need to find each of you an avatar. Let's prep the genetic sampling.
I'm on it.
Okay, first we need to find the compatible match of your genetic material with the genetic material of one of the avatar bodies that we already have. Once we do that, you'll be able to link to that avatar and fly. Help us out and move around a bit. Almost. Yes, got it. Now, let's find you your avatar matches. You've all been matched with avatars. Looks like they're ready for you in the next room. When the door opens, please go inside, all the way in, and stand over the same number that you're standing over now. And I'll see you in there. You've all made it. It's important that you can all see me, so move a little if you can't. Before we send you to the link chamber, let's watch this piece by Dr. Ogden, who runs the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Jackie Ogden from the Pandora Conservation Initiative. You're about to experience a ceremony that's very special to the Na'vi, flying on the back of an Ikran, or as we call it, a banshee. To the Na'vi, connecting to an Ikran and flying on its back is an incredibly important rite of passage they call Maya. With permission from the Na'vi and in partnership with Alpha Centauri Expeditions, we can now bring this amazing experience to you. The way you'll be able to fly is by linking to an avatar that's already on the back of an Ikran. Let's see how this works.
We establish a link using powerful psionic amplification equipment. A human driver is connected to an avatar, which could be physically hundreds of kilometers away. When you follow our technician into the link chamber, you'll see a series of 16 link chairs. Please go to the number that matches the number you're standing on now. First, stow your gear in the storage containers on the back wall. This should include all bags, cameras, and other items, including cell phones. It's important to push them all the way into the bin. Then get onto the chair as you would a bike. Straddle the seat, step forward, and sit down. Slide your hips forward until you are against the chest pad, and then move your feet all the way forward. Wait until you're seated before you put on your flight visors. hold onto the hand grips as shown. It's important to hold onto the hand grips at all times. After you're seated, back and leg restraints will be firmly engaged. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, always remain seated and supervise your children.
Once the link takes place, you'll be connected to your avatar and sitting on the back of an Ikran. It'll feel like you're really there. Moments later, you'll begin your flight. A Na'vi guide will lead you out. You'll experience the breathtaking beauty of Pandora, but you might also face some of its greatest challenges. Some of this flight might be intense, but trust your guide and be brave. As the Na'vi say during this important rite of passage, Sivak Ho, rise to the challenge. Good luck.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Let's get you into the link chamber.
Okay, so just as a reminder, you're going to be restrained at a height above the ground and the floor will move. So if you have a fear of heights or are prone to motion sickness and would like to opt out, then please just let me know. We're going to start numbers 1 through 8, you're going to follow me, and then 9 through 16, you're going to follow behind number 8. Right this way, guys.
Attention drivers, stow your gear on the back wall and then get onto the link chair the way we showed you in the video. Then put on your flight visors. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, remain seated, lean forward, holding onto the hand grips, and supervise your children.
Para su seguridad, durante toda esta experiencia deberán permanecer sentados, inclinarse hacia adelante agarrando las barras y supervisen a sus niños. Gracias.
Number 9 is right here. Oh, yes, we are. Yep.
Restraints activated.
Make sure we're all laying against that chest pad for me.
It's right up on it. Oh, yeah, it's right up on it. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's safe.
link chair, gather your belongings, and exit the link chamber. Attention drivers, stow your gear on the back wall and then get onto the link chair the way we showed you in the video. Then put on your flight visors. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, remain seated, lean forward, holding onto the hand grips, and supervise your children.
Thank you. That whole experience was exactly an hour. That rope drop. That's the best level. It's the middle. We did. We didn't even have to ask. Looking around. How'd you like it? There are some videos on YouTube I watch from behind in like 360, so you can actually, because people are cool like that and do that. And with that, we close out our second ever bonus episode of the Imagineer podcast. I really do hope you enjoyed this particular recording of Flight of Passage first thing in the morning, rope drop at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I would do this every day of the week if I could. It is an exhilarating experience, and as you heard, if you haven't been on this attraction before, you need to make your way to Disney's Animal Kingdom as soon as you can. It has to be one of the best attractions ever created. Maybe in 10 years, there'll be something even better than this one. But for now, I have to say this is an amazing attraction. And even 10 years from now, I'm still going to think it's an amazing ride. So be sure to head to Disney's Animal Kingdom if you haven't already and check out Flight of Passage. Of course, I definitely want to hear from you what your thoughts are about Flight of Passage. Have you ever done this first thing in the morning at Disney's Animal Kingdom? If not, do you tend to go to the parks first thing in the morning? What is that first attraction that you head to, whether you're going to Magic Kingdom or Epcot or Disney's Hollywood Studios or Disney's Animal Kingdom, or maybe you're on the West Coast and you're going to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure Park? What's that first attraction that you must do? You can send me your feedback and your answers in one of just a few ways. You can either send me an email at imagineerpodcast@gmail.com, or you could send me a private direct message on any of our social media channels, which include Facebook and Instagram at Imagineer Podcast. Be sure to follow us on both of those pages. On Twitter at Imagineer Audio. Be sure to follow us there as well. And on our Facebook group, which is the Imagineer Podcast Disney fan community, which you can find by either going to facebook.com/Imagineer Podcast and clicking on the community tab, or by simply going to Facebook and typing into your search bar, Imagineer Podcast Disney Fan Community, and it should populate as one of the first, if not the first search result that comes up. If you don't already subscribe to the show, I would, as always, encourage you to do so that you are the first to know when a new podcast episode, including a potential bonus episode like this one, drops. So be the first to know by subscribing either in iTunes or Spotify or Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher. We're in so many places for you to enjoy. And if you haven't already rated and reviewed the show, if you love the Imagineer podcast, one of the best things you can do is to leave us a rating in iTunes and a review, which takes maybe about a minute tops to write some kind words. And I do want to thank Lindsay TE on iTunes, who did write in a few weeks ago saying 5 stars, fantastic podcast. I love the Imagineer podcast. The topics are great, and it's so cool to hear the rides through the binaural audio, just like this episode. You can really tell Matthew has a passion for Disney. Yeah, I really do. That really comes out in the podcasts. His insight as a previous cast member is great. Lindsay, thank you so much for that amazing review. And again, if you out there have not yet rated and reviewed the show, I would really ask that you do so. It really does amazing things for our podcast. So I want to thank those of you who have, and I would encourage, if you haven't, to go ahead and leave us a rating and a review. And of course, one other thing you could do that would really help the show is to share out the podcast, whether you share out this episode or any other on any social media channel, or just share it out directly with your friends. That really helps us to grow our podcast, and I have really enjoyed building all new Disney friendships with a lot of you out there, and you know who you are. It's been an absolute privilege, and I've been so happy to just form some new Disney friendships and give you some content that I really hope you've been enjoying so far. As always, I want to remind you that it is always possible to make your dreams come true. You already have all the tools that you need, so go out there, do everything you can to make your own dreams come true. Remember that dream, that quote from Horizons: if you can dream it, you can do it. We'll see you in a future episode of the Imagineer Podcast.
I may not be much of a horse guy, but I was born to do this.
Yeah.